She was on her knees, scrubbing champagne from marble floors while violins played overhead, until a billionaire walked up, smiled warmly and asked, "Miss, may I get you a drink?" What he didn't know, what no one at the party knew, was that this woman had once been a rising star. So how did she end up mopping floors in the shadows? And how did this mistaken encounter change her life forever? New York City, winter. Snowflakes dusted the sidewalks like powdered sugar, the kind you'd only notice if you weren't too busy trying to survive. In a towering mansion near Central Park, a luxurious charity gala glittered with chandeliers, champagne towers, and people dripping in designer labels. But deep below that shine, beyond the velvet ropes and gold-plated invitations, was a woman named Zariah Monroe. She wasn't a guest. She wasn't staff. She was a last-minute temp cleaner, sent in by an agency because someone else called out. With a tattered mop, threadbare gloves, and shoes 2 sizes too big, Zariah had no idea her life was about to change. Not just that night, but forever. Zariah Monroe had dreams once. Big ones. She was once a Juilliard-trained violinist, praised for her brilliance, her emotion, her grace. At 19 she played for royalty. By 23, she had a Carnegie Hall solo. Then her mother fell sick. No insurance. No help. Just Zariah, quitting performances to work double shifts at diners and laundromats to cover hospital bills. Every sacrifice tore her further from the life she built. One missed performance became 2. Her name disappeared from marquees. Critics moved on. By 29 she was invisible. But through it all, she held on to one thing, her violin. Old, scratched and silent, but hers. At the gala, Zariah moved between polished shoes and clinking glasses, unseen, unheard. Until, suddenly, a gentle tap on her shoulder. He turned, startled. There stood Sebastian Hale, the billionaire founder of HaleTech. Charming. Impeccably dressed. Known for transforming startups and giving back to underserved communities. He smiled. "I've been watching you all evening. You carry yourself like a queen. Tell me, red or white wine?" Zariah blinked. I think you've mistaken me. You don't need to be modest," he chuckled. "You must be one of the donors or musicians. You have that aura." Before she could answer, he waved to a waiter and handed her a glass. Zariah hesitated, then took it. Just one sip. For once, just feel human again. The conversation deepened. He asked about her background, her family, her passions. She told him about music. Not cleaning. Not her 3 jobs. Not the eviction notice in her coat pocket. Sebastian was enchanted. "I'd love to hear you play." Zariah laughed softly. "It's been years. My hands clean floors now. They don't create magic anymore." He looked her in the eyes, quiet for a beat. "You don't know who you're talking to, do you?" She looked up. "I grew up with nothing," he said. "My mom cleaned houses. My first violin was made from tin cans and wire. I never forgot where I came from. And I never will." He took out his phone, dialed someone and simply said, "Bring it in." Moments later, a violin, antique, deep brown, delicate, was brought out in a velvet case. "Play for me," he said. Zariah shook. "I can't, my fingers." "Then let them remember," he said. She lifted the violin. The crowd fell silent as notes, cracked at first, then flowing like water, rose through the air. A melody full of sorrow and hope. By the time she finished, people were weeping. She opened her eyes. Sebastian's were misty. "Who are you really?" The next day, a knock echoed at Zariah's small apartment door. A man in a black suit handed her an envelope. Inside, a handwritten note. "No more late nights cleaning. No more dreams deferred. You reminded me of where I came from. It's time the world heard your music again. Sebastian." Inside was a $100,000 check, a Juilliard re-entry letter, and a small silver key. The key to a rehearsal studio he'd reserved for her. Free for life. Zariah returned to the stage 6 months later. This time at a Hale Foundation event, as a headliner. The same people who'd walked past her at the gala stood in line for her autograph. News outlets called her the Second Symphony, a miracle comeback. But Zariah didn't just perform. She founded a free music program for girls in underserved neighborhoods. She taught them that their hands, no matter how worn, could still create beauty. One day, a girl from her class, Amina, was caught sleeping in the studio after hours. She was homeless. Instead of reporting her, Zariah took her in. She gave her a cot, food, and a violin. Amina later got into Juilliard too. Exactly 1 year after that fateful night, Zariah was invited back to the same mansion gala, this time in a red gown. She passed a young cleaner on her knees, trying to hide a tear. Zariah knelt down, placed a hand on her shoulder and said, "I know. I really do." Then she slipped a card into the girl's pocket. Back on stage, she told the audience, "This city doesn't just break people. It reveals them. And sometimes, the greatest music comes from those who've been silent the longest." Can you imagine how that moment felt? Going from invisible to unforgettable? Zariah's story isn't just about music. It's about being seen. It's about the ripple effect of a single act of kindness. So if you've ever felt overlooked, or if you've ever helped someone who was, remember this. The floor you're on today may be someone else's stage tomorrow.